Hello heathens, and welcome to my channel. I am Heathen Beauty, and my channel is dedicated to the exploration of paganism through the medium of cosmetics. If you enjoy this subject matter or find my content of interest, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and set the bell to all to be notified of when I upload new videos. Little disclaimer before I get into the content. If you happen to be a Christian who feels that this time of year is attacked by people with alternative beliefs, or not just Christians, but anyone who may be religious, this video may not be for you, as I am about to spill some tea that will likely irritate you. With that said, here we go. Today's episode will be dedicated to the pagan holiday of Yule, also known as the winter solstice. The winter solstice is the time of year, and specifically one day in particular, where the daytime is shortest and it has the most darkness to it, and it marks the day when the days start to get longer again. So, the shortest day, and after that, we start getting more and more daylight. Today, I'm diverting from my planned linear timeline, initially covering the history of paganism for my channel, specifically to cover this holiday and this time of year. Now let me preface this with pagan holiday calendars are not universal, and which holidays fall on what dates depends on what hemisphere you live in. In the southern hemisphere, this time of year falls on the summer holiday of Litha, which will be covered in another video in the future, but where 90% of the world's population resides in the northern hemisphere, and many holidays also coincide with now Christian holidays, I will be focusing and following the northern hemisphere pagan calendar. It's not really a coincidence that the pagan calendar of the northern hemisphere coincides with Christian holidays, but I will get more into that in this and subsequent videos. Please know this is not me bashing Christians, but as a pagan myself, I feel it's necessary to cover the pagan origins of the Christian holidays in order to better educate people on them. The holiday of Yule marks, like I said already, the winter solstice. It largely started and was celebrated by the Germanic and Nordic people, and many pagan paths that generally developed from the Proto-Indo-polytheistic belief systems. Some of these groups include the Romans, the Celts, Druids, Nordic Vikings hailing Odin the Allfather. And this time of year is filled with holidays from various pagan and non-pagan religions and spiritualities, which is one of the major reasons that people who follow pagan paths will frequently say, this is not just your holiday season. As I'm getting into things, I'm using the medium shade head, and I'm going to start today with actually using some primer because I have it and I need to use it. So we're going to try something new. I feel it's I feel it's important to eventually cover all of the holidays. In order for them to gain the recognition they so often do not get in the large favoritism for the Abrahamic holidays. Sorry, we see it every year. Every single year. Many of people who practice pagan faiths and traditions have their timelines and everything flooded with our holidays are under attack. I'm sorry, your holidays are not under attack. That's just reality. If you want to talk about holidays under attack, how about not attacking practitioners when they're trying to tell you how things are? I know I'm probably going to get a lot of comments and heat for this, but I'm sorry. I'm just expressing the frustration a lot of us feel, especially at this time of year, as well as other holidays that have basically been co-opted. But that's just our reality. Do I feel that it's important to hold malice or malintent towards Christians because of things that are now their holidays and their traditions? No, I don't. And many times when I have seen my fellow pagans get up in arms saying, keep your hands off of our traditions, I'm of the mindset of this appropriation happened centuries ago. I'm sorry. You're not going to get it back. The best we can do is educate people, hope for the best, hope that we are treated fairly and equally eventually, and that people can hear historical fact without taking it personally and as a personal attack. That's pretty much all we can hope for at this point. The primer I just used is something I got in my BoxyCharm subscription, and it is Glassy Touch and Soul. Now, here we go. Historically, the Yule holiday traces back to the Roman celebration of Saturnalia. The holiday was specifically developed to honor the god Saturn, and it generally lasted a week from around December 17th through the 25th. Just like Christmas and festivities of this year, it was a time of partying, gift giving, joyous events. Frequent gifts involved wax candles, which were bestowed as gifts to signify the return of light, as the winter solstice marks the shortest day of the year, and the return of the daytime period getting longer. Now that the face is print, I am using, this is the closest shade I could get, the same primer as yesterday, just a different shade in bronze. A lot of the traditions we know as Christmas traditions, the Christmas tree, the Yule Log mistletoe, especially kissing under the mistletoe, all of that started in paganism. During Saturnalia, people would bring trees into their home. They would decorate it with ornaments, or glass orbs or balls. Today, you can still find similar items in some pagan stores, and they're generally called witch balls, and they're meant to hold herbs or crystals or anything that can be stored in them to help trap or keep negative energy at bay, and to bring blessings and happy tidings to the home of the people who hang them up. They would also decorate the tree with candles, with nuts, berries, anything of that nature as an offering to the deity to welcome his return. And beyond the Roman traditions, you have also the Nordic traditions that were held by the Vikings, by and large. I'm sure if you are a Marvel fan, you have heard of Odin, the Allfather. Well, what you may not know, and this is not taking away from Saint Nicholas in the Christian faith. Obviously, he was known to give gifts to children and to those in need. However, the construct of Santa Claus as we know him to be is largely from the mythology surrounding Odin. And the reason why I say that, and I will include resources down below if you want to read more about this. Saint Nicholas was not known to fly in the sky. He wasn't known to have elves making presents. Odin did. Odin was known to fly in the sky in a chariot pulled by animals. And he actually, in the mythology, had elves that worked for him making presents. They were called Odin's men. The tradition of kissing under the mistletoe, that also has to do with Norse mythology, where they felt that if you got trapped under the mistletoe, you had to kiss to prevent ill tidings or evil from coming into your life or the lives of others. It was also meant as a greeting and, an expression of love. I'm using a sample for this. Tarte face tape. The color is 16N Fair Light, and I'm putting down a lighter what is this? Oh, I'm sorry, this is a foundation. I'm putting down a lighter shade because it helps the colors pop. I learned this technique, and I will try to find the person whose video I watched that spoke about this. and I will try to list it below. But as I was saying, mistletoe was a tradition in Nordic Yule festivities, as was the Yule Log. However, unlike we know the Yule Log to be today as some pastry that, you know, is generally a cake wrapped around several times around a filling, the Yule Log was an actual log. And what they would do is they would decorate it with holly and ivy and different herbs, and they would burn it. And the reason why they would do that is because it offered up as another form of sacrifice to try to bring good tidings and blessings to those who need them. I'm likely doing this out of order, but foundation is a little bit shiny and I think it needs to be mattified a bit. So I'm trying to use a Becca powder to set it a bit. And to just get everything working together. This is also something I got in a BoxyCharm subscription. Came in one of my boxes. But a lot of the things that we know to be Christian traditions for Christmas, they all started off in paganism. There is some discussion, however, I'm not entirely sure on this. Especially if you are in the pagan communities and you follow a lot of the pages and such on Facebook, you will see a lot of the memes that go around saying, well, this was never about Jesus, this was about other deities in other pantheons or in other pagan traditions who had similar stories of being born to a virgin mother and were born around this time of year. Honestly, I couldn't find a lot to back that up. That's not to say that it's entirely 100% false, but being a member of this community and being someone who actually owns a pagan Facebook page, which I am not going to mention, I felt it was important to bring that up to try to stop any misinformation. It is thought that Christ was actually born sometime in March, and that the Christian Church decided to assign his birthday to this time of year as a method to try to further convert pagans to Christianity. As I spoke about in my last video, that was a very popular methodology that was used by the Christian Church and the Vatican in order to bring in new members and try to get pagans and their traditions and beliefs labeled as heresy and evil. That if you followed these ancient traditions and upheld these belief systems, you were somehow evil, meant to burn in hell, because all of a sudden your belief systems and your religion is invalid and the only thing that matters is ours. That's something, unfortunately, we even see a lot of today. I really wish it wouldn't, but you would hope that by now people would learn and grow. I'm going to use this stencil to try to do eyebrows. I make no guarantee as to how this is going to turn out. I don't even have an eyebrow pencil per se, but I'm going to try to use these multi-purpose pencils just to lightly draw in eyebrows if I can. Hey, it's working. Woohoo! Hopefully I have the placement right. We will soon find out, won't we? Even a lot of the colors and stuff that we see around this time of year, they were inspired by nature. The gold, silvers, green and red, they're primarily the colors that you find in nature, especially in the holly and ivy. And actually those colors even hold what we think of as symbolism or magical purpose, depending on what they're used for. Red tends to draw love. Green tends to draw wealth. All of which are things that people would seek around this time of year. In their festivities, in their practices, in their rituals, in their calling upon the gods and goddesses to hear and help them. Depending on your pagan path, there's an Asian goddess, I can't remember her name, that's prevalent in Japan. I'm using different colors because, as we all know, hairs are not all one color, and not that this is in any way, shape, or form going to be realistic, but you can make it look a little less fake by using different colors. The basic thought process of many pagan groups, particularly if you follow Wicca or if you follow some of the Celtic traditions, on top of the Nordic beliefs that largely spread around, you have the belief system that the seasons have gender assigned to them. So winter is when the goddess goes to sleep. Spring is when one of the gods, or several gods, come around and plant fertility. Then I believe summer is female again, and then fall is male. So they alternate back and forth. Let's see. I'm not going to go into the full plan that I was thinking of doing, but let me do maybe some eyeshadow. I have the NYX Ultimate Edit palettes. This one is Phoenix, and this one is Ash. But yeah, this is why you will see a lot of people when you see the people going crazy over the frickin' Starbucks cups that they don't say Merry Christmas. Why so many of people will say, this holiday season doesn't just belong to you. And it doesn't. There are so many other holidays around this time of year, but I felt it was important to start with and cover the holiday that is most thought of and most co-opted around this time of year. I make no guarantees how this is going to come out. This is not planned. But I wanted to give a little try with something. See how it works out. These brushes are, I believe, from the Funko Pop Maleficent set. Early I was using a couple Jeffree Star brushes, particularly the ones to apply foundation and the one to apply the Becca powder. I realized yesterday when I was doing that look that I am not a fan of natural bristle brushes. And I learned that when I went to go to clean them. That was not a fun process. Now I see why so many makeup artists say that it is their least favorite thing to do. It is a learning process. I will get there eventually. Right. Again, so not a professional. I know that's a shock, right? You would totally go to me. Believe for a moment that I'm professionally trained, right? And to those who can't pick up on it, I'm being sarcastic. Well, sorry about that. I've been talking to myself for about, 10 minutes or so. So you missed what I did. I put the red color on the Phoenix palette on the lower eye portion. Then I put, I think it's Ace Beauty. This is a product I got in BoxyCharm. Shadow, it's a glimmer shadow in French Vanilla. And I put that in the center, and because the gold wasn't looking very good, and it went flying. In a place I can't reach it. I put a black eyeliner. These are, it was just a really cheap pack off of Amazon, but it came in a lot of different colors. So yeah, that's pretty much all I've done in the time that I was talking to myself and you guys could not see it and you missed the entire thing. Don't be upset. It was probably pretty boring. Let's try to fix that camera angle a bit. There we go. Trying to think of... This is a palette you probably saw in yesterday's video that I didn't actually end up using. It is a J-Cat lip color palette, but I'm doing, or attempting to do, some form of blush right now. And this palette is I Heart Revolution, and it is their One True Love palette. And I think I'm going to use, obviously, a matte color, so probably this one right here, number 8, to maybe do a little bit of blush. I know that I'm not even sure that came out. I'm sure these products would act a lot better and look a lot nicer on actual skin. So please do not take their difficulty of placement as being a reflection of the product themselves. All of the products I bought had relatively high reviews. So a lot of people love them, a lot of people use them. This very well is likely a combination of the skin texture, the primer, the foundation, the powder, you know, just possibly causing a few issues. So I got a little blush. Well, it's technically eyeshadow, but it's makeup. It can be used anywhere. There are no rules. I'm going to use a Wet n Wild fan brush and the Beauty Bakery Milk and Honey palette, because I'm thinking a color in here would possibly look like an okay highlighter. I'm thinking, spoiler alert, I think, if I recall correctly. Oh yeah, see, this is all the foundation and everything. This is a really good product. Yeah, that's not gonna work. I think next time I do this, I'm gonna try something different and maybe not try to go the full beat, as it were. Just try to do the things that work out better for using a cosmetic practice head. Rather than try to do things like you would on a normal face. Blush came out okay. Let's see about a lip product, shall we? This palette you probably saw in last night's video, and oops, I didn't end up using it. It is the J-Cat lip palette. It has many, many different shades that you can take out and mix and match colors for what you were looking for and wanting to use. But I think, based on the subject matter, we're just going to go for the red color. I have to say, it's a really nice palette. I'm just trying to at least somewhat stay inside the lip line. I'm sure anyone watching right now is probably going, dear God, what is she doing? But you don't know until you try. think that's pretty good. It's obviously far from perfect, and it's not really a full reflection of the products or what they could do or what they're capable of doing. But I will adjust things and find what works over time. I may next time just try avoiding using primer and foundation and just apply colors directly to the hairspray covered face, because that's why it's shiny down here. You're supposed to spray it with hairspray so that the colors don't adhere or stain the face. Perhaps on a person this might look a little bit better, but not bad for one of my first videos. I hope in a few years' time I'll look back at this and laugh and go, dear God, why did you do that? And hopefully I will have developed some skills by then. But anyway, I hope you've enjoyed tonight's video. Sorry it was a bit rambly, and I know I got through the subject matter pretty quickly and far quicker than I anticipated. But tonight's look is more holiday themed, or attempted to be. And I hope you all have a wonderful night. I hope you have a very blessed holiday, and brightest blessings, and blessed be. Good night.